Hi, everyone. Welcome to Black Girl Joy. I'm super excited about today's episode. It's going to be a little intense. So I want to just jump right in. But before I do, like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things in all the places, and then comment to join in on the conversation. All right, so I'm going to welcome a super special guest. I'm very excited. I had to ask him a couple of times to come on. So today we are joined by Greg Graham. Greg Graham went through the ultimate story of survival. We all have our own unique stories of survival, but his story is just so powerful. So you're going to hear about his journey from stroke to superhero. So let me welcome Greg Graham, the AVM superhero and host of Death Taught Us How to Live.
Hey sis, how you doing?
I'm good. Don't be laughing at me.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So, Greg, I want you to start by I talked about AVM superhero. Can you give us a quick synopsis of like your story and what happened to you? And I'm going to give you the screen and I'll show a picture.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I had what's called an 8 VM rupture in my cerebellum. That's called arteriovenous malformation, and only 1% of the world's population has this particular disease. Most likely, you're conceived with it. And for 41 years, I had this inside of my head. I did not know until it actually ruptured. On one fateful night or unfaithful night on November 27th, 2017, I was driving um, from Indiana back to my home in Atlanta, and I was talking to my mother and her friend, and we was talking about this girl that went to school with me that had two strokes that go to her church. And I was just saying to her, wow, that woman is pretty young to have a stroke. I'm surprised that that happened to her. And then all of a sudden my head started hurting me really bad, and I couldn't do anything to alleviate it. So I got some water, started drinking it while I was driving on the highway, and my mom heard me, and the sound that was coming out of my mouth was very bad. So she told me to pull over and call 911. So at that time, I called 911 and pulled over the side of the road. And I asked the 911 operator, am I going to die? She said, I don't know. Hopefully you're not. Because I knew I was having a aneurysm, because I had a friend that had an aneurysm and an eruption. They told me it was a excruciating pain, more worse than any headache that you can imagine. So that's what I was having. So the 911 operator stayed on the line with me, called my then wife, and told her what's going on with me. I had to hang up the phone with my mother so I could imagine what my mother was going through at that time. And it took about 20 minutes time. I didn't feel any resentment or any jealousy or any anger towards anything in life. Um, Death was welcoming. It felt like a thing that I needed to go to. Like God was calling me. Life was changing right before my eyes. It was weird because the smells was different. The grass was greener, the sky was bluer. It's like I was transitioning. It was comforting. So, as you might have heard through different stories of people telling you in the movies, that your life flashes before your eyes. Exactly what happened. I started thinking about my mother. I said she'll be okay if I die. I thought about my ex-wife. I think she'll be okay. I thought of my dad. I said he'll be okay. And then I thought about my children. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't die. I can't go yet. It's not time for me. So I turned to my right, just like I'm talking to you right now, Joy. Um, I asked God, I said, God, give me another chance. I need to live for my daughters. And as clear as you introduced the show, I heard him say, okay. So after I heard that, you know, things started reverting back. The green grass wasn't that green, the skies wasn't that blue. And I was still in pain, but I stopped worrying about death because I knew God said, you'll be okay. So I was fine with that. The thing that I'd never asked for was I going to be okay, as in with health of my body? Because right now, the left side of my body, from my neck all the way down to my toes, is all spasms. So I feel pain 24/7. But I was able to live to be for my daughters. So they airlifted me to the hospital to find out that I had a stroke, an AVM rupture, and they did a operation on me through my groin to go to my brain to do what's called an embolization. And then about 6 weeks later, I was able to be transported back to Atlanta because I was in Kentucky at this particular time. And when I got back to Atlanta, I went to this hospital called Emory Hospital. It's a hospital, it's a university hospital, teaching hospital, and they did a craniotomy for me and they removed the AVM. And also, I have what's called hydrocephalus. That means that you cannot transform your brain fluid into spinal fluid. So I have a shunt inside of my head that drains into my stomach.
Oh,
That's pretty
wow.
much it. Yeah.
So I'm going to show this picture of you, but can you remind me how long it took you to just to be able to walk again?
But without any assistance, probably about 9 weeks. And this is when I was actually in rehab when my up there to see me. So I had my stroke in November. This was probably in February.
Yeah. I remember hearing about, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? You never think about these things happening to people close to you or just the extreme like case you had. It was, yeah, I mean, it's been a journey and I've watched you. So just a question, you talked about like the bright skies and like just how different it was. And you
Mhm.
also have this show called Death Taught Us How to Live. What does
Mhm.
that mean to you? Death taught us how to live.
Yeah, that's a good question because at first I wanted to just talk to stroke survivors and find out what their stories were, but it morphed into anybody that went through the same type of transition of life, understanding that they were so close to death and now they have transformed their life to see that life is really precious. They're not in control when they're going to die or anything like that. So Death Taught Us How to Live is basically people coming together teaching other people how to not take for granted for each and every day that they have.
So when you sticking with the Death Taught Us How to Live, what
Mhm.
did your experience teach you about living?
Ooh, that you can't take any day for granted. No, I didn't wake up that morning and say, you know what, I'm gonna have a stroke, and it's gonna be very bad for me. I'm not. Life is gonna be completely different. So I didn't know the time or the place that I'm gonna die. So people worry about things like, oh, I can't do that because people might look at me differently, or I can't do this because I can't afford to. What I'm like, live your life. So that's what Death taught us how to live. Like we're not holding back anymore because we don't know the time or the place that it's going to be taken from us.
No, that's super interesting. And I went through my experience with my mom, right? And so that was like a 3-year process, 3 to 4 years of watching someone, die, which is very, very traumatic. And I think that I came away with a similar feeling that
Mm.
though you went through the experience personally, which is totally different, right? And you
Mhm.
had an experience that was almost sounds euphoric, right? So you have this like euphoric experience of what death is. I don't have that part.
Right.
But definitely in the process of watching my mom go through what she went through, it really it it really reset some things for me. So the things I was scared of doing, like streaming online, right? Or even just little things like that, like starting my own company. The things that I was very afraid to do is like, okay, might as well do them, right? Because you
Right.
don't want to be at the end and you're like, well, I should have did this, and this. I want to be focused on all the stuff I did do. And so that was a big thing for me.
Yes, I get that, Joy. Because what happened with me? Because when I had this AVM rupture, I used to pull up my feeding tube out my mouth, so they handcuffed me to my bed,
Oh,
and I was handcuffed for about 4 weeks. But at that time, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I don't want to be in this position ever again, and say, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't accomplish these goals that I always wanted to do, but I was hesitant. So yeah, that's really the main focus of it, just being able to move forward. And you understand that now, as you see what happened with your mother, and it was a slow process. And you're like, oh, I don't want that to happen to me without me doing whatever I need to do. So I get it. I get what you're saying.
oh, we have a question. Do you do you think if something triggered your stroke? Do you,
So So that question is very good. Nothing triggered my stroke because this wasn't something, and I think people have the misconception of what a stroke is. There's many different types of forms. They have what's called an ischemic stroke, and you have what's called a hemorrhagic stroke. Ischemic stroke is when you have high blood pressure or blood clots or anything like that, while a hemorrhagic is when you have a AVM rupture or an aneurysm. My stroke was caused by something that I was conceived with. Now I'm 46 years old and didn't rupture until I was 41. And it's a ticking time on this inside my head. So if you look up AVM, arteriovenous malformation, only 1% of the world's population has this. So there was nothing I could do or say to stop this from happening. So for no, there was no warning signs.
Yeah. And so don't live in fear, take risk and live. I love that you guys
Yeah.
are commenting. I love that. So another thing that I got from my experience, I'm just interested because I know you. Like I know you. And so for me, one of the things I took away also were it really helped me, and I don't know if you ever struggle with this. That's why I say I know you. But it really helped me with boundaries, and not boundaries in a sense of, I guess, the traditional sense of boundaries. But for me, I kind of always wanted to do what people wanted me to do, right? So
Mm.
it's like, you may not think of me that way because I seem very demanding at times, but I did, like, I wanted to satisfy people. So it'd be times where, or I was looking for fulfillment through satisfying other people, right? So I won't put it on them, I put it on me. It made me feel, it made me feel needed and appreciated and of value when I filled up my calendar with 1,500 things to do and I'm tired, but someone needs me to do this. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. Like, I just carry around this guilt and weight of needing to satisfy people. And so I think through my experience, it taught me too that time is limited. And so people will figure it out. So did you have any revelations with boundaries?
Boundaries, I guess with the explanation you have, I don't know if I necessarily call it boundaries, but expectations for my life. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I had these revelations, and the one thing that I came to, and it really opened up my eyes completely because, like I said, I was married before, and I knew that our relationship was really strained, and we really wanted to separate from a long time ago, but we just held on. But I was thinking right before I was going to die, I was like, dang, there's two things that I'm really regretting right now. One is that I'm not teaching my daughters everything I could possibly teach them. And two, that I'm going to die without truly being in love.
Oh,
So I'm like, whoa, this is
that,
not cool.
that's deep.
It's very deep. So once I got to that revelation, I'm like, if I get through this, or when I do get through this, I'm gonna have to let my ex-wife go. I'm letting her live her life so she can find whoever she needs to find, and I also have to find my peace and find my love as well. Because what we're doing is just wasting time, and we never know what it's going to be called. So yeah,
That's deep. Because I would have thought, let me tell you how I think men should think about me in my life. I mean,
I'm
like,
listening.
they going to be on their deathbed. Like, the last thing they're going to think about is, man, I should have wiped her. Like, and your experience is like such the opposite that I would never think about it that way. Like, what relationships, and not just, right? That's a romantic relationship, right? And significant.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what relationships should I have let go of so that I can truly live in a space of satisfaction and fulfillment and all that? So I would have never thought about it because I always feel like
But that's what we have to think about, Joy. Because if we don't think about that, once that day comes, I'm like, man, I really messed up. I was living for other people. I wasn't fulfilling myself. Why are we here? Are we here to actually fulfill other people? Or like when you get on the airplane, what they say, put your mask on first before you help out someone else. That's how I live life now. I got to put my mask on.
that's deep. That's deep. And it makes me question everything I thought about every guy. Let me stop. This is on LinkedIn. So let me rein that back in. Let me rein that back in. So no, that's very interesting. So, like, going through tragic experience to me, it's like this, it literally is like a journey, right? So it's a journey like from grief to anger, why this happened to me, to like pushing to survive. I forgot the exact hierarchy to
I
like,
got it. Denial, anger,
yeah.
bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
So It's been how long for you?
This year will be 5 years.
And do you feel like you're at the acceptance stage?
I've been at acceptance about 3 years ago.
Okay. So was there anything around you, whether it be spiritual, emotional, like what helped you navigate those phases?
Friends,
That is all. That's real.
intelligent friends.
Oh, okay. Like me.
No, you want to know?
No,
Yes,
I'm just
absolutely.
kidding.
No, seriously. Because there are some people that will say, "Oh, you had a brain injury." Well, I got a scar on my head too. I'm like, why are you telling me this? No,
Ooh.
that you can't compare like you bumped your head on the wall versus going through brain surgery. So when you have good friends that's actually willing to listen to you and understand that, hey, you're not the same person as you was before. Even though I look strong, I look like I could walk through buildings and walk through walls and everything, but I can't. It's just my body looks the same, but inside is only completely messed up. So having great friends that understand that and are patient with you was very vital for my recovery.
Do you feel like the people who were like, "Oh, I have a scar on my brain." I went through that with depression, like, "Oh, I feel sad too,"
Right, right,
or
right,
you
right.
should, drink this tea, you'll feel better. Do you feel like they were trying to find a way to like it may have been awkward, but find a way to relate to you? Or do you feel like they were just like, okay, yeah, we all got problems?
I think they was trying to relate to you, but their perspective of life was totally jaded. So they don't understand how to actually speak to you
Hmm.
because it's works for them. So it obviously has to work for you. And they don't understand that everybody's different and everybody has different issues that have different traumas that you might have some traumas in your life that led to your depression that they don't have a clue about. So
Hmm.
what they're trying to prescribe to you doesn't work for you. So that's why I was talking about intelligent friends. So they don't try to put their viewpoint on you, but they allow you to speak and allow you to come to a conclusion on your own or try to give you some steps to get to that conclusion.
So emotionally intelligent too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's really what was the thing? This is like on a different note. Like, what was the thing that annoyed you most about people's responses besides I got a scar on my head?
Well, at least you're alive.
Yeah.
That ticks me off when they say, well, at least you survived.
Yeah.
Like, I survived? Okay. I used to make $100,000 a year. Now I don't. I used to have 4 houses. Now I don't. I
Yeah.
can't take a woman out to dinner now. Before I could take her across the world if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So a lot of things have changed in my life that I had to adjust overnight.
Mm,
And that when people say to me, at least that you survived, I'm like, well, this is a different life. You don't understand how my life is completely different right now. So I have to adjust to that. So they don't understand that. So whenever they say that to someone that's become disabled, that's the worst thing to say.
so I'm gonna go on a slightly different track, and you can pull me in if you like. No, this is off base. But there, a couple of years ago, there was this whole social media kind of campaign about the mental health of Black men, right?
Mm,
And
hmm.
how like Black men, they don't really get that sympathy or that empathy that they need, or that kind of outlet to express either their emotions or what's going on in their life, and receive like a gracious, humble response and understanding response. Do you feel like that's what you got from a lot of people?
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I have some great female friends. So it
Hmm.
wasn't from women that was giving me that. I was getting empathy from women. It was the male friends that was really bad for me. Um,
Really?
yeah, because they couldn't understand it. Because once again, you know me, I'm an alpha male. I'm ready to do things, and if someone comes to me, say, Greg, we need to take care of this. I'm really the person that's going to really take care of it, and now I
Mhm.
can't. So now they don't know how to adjust to me be, I guess, the beta male or whatnot, the alpha male anymore. While the women that I had in my life to understand, like, oh, you're different and I can't treat you as such, but you're still intelligent. You're still a compassionate man. So I need to treat you as a Black man. And I was fortunate to have women in my life that were that way. I just had to understand that sometimes, and some women had trauma within themselves
Mhm.
that they haven't gone through or really dealt with.
Yeah.
And they were reflected on me, and I had to be able to be strong enough to actually understand that they are going through something themselves. So I can't reflect that on myself. That makes sense?
I want to dig in it so bad because I'm
It is.
like, that's very vague, but it sounds very
It is.
personal. So,
No. It's life. I'm open. I'm an open book.
but when you say women projected kind of their trauma on you, does that mean they were trying to take care of you because they were trying to work? What does that mean?
No, they get
Uh
because
oh.
it's weird because my filter is off. I don't have any filter anymore. So
No.
I'll ask questions that will really probe and ask you honest questions. And
Mhm.
sometimes people will get mad at the questions. I'm like, okay, I get it. There's something that's behind that story that
Mhm.
you have within yourself you haven't dealt with. That's why you're mad at me. That's why you're taking it back out of me.
Mm.
But if I didn't understand that, then I'll go back and forth with you and argue with you. And that's the argument is not really between you and I, it's between you and your past. So I had to understand that. And once I
That
got through that, I
is.
was good.
Do you know how many people don't understand that? Do you understand? Like, and I project a lot, I admit, but a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of times, conversations people have and they really ain't even having them with you. It's something internal that they're trying to work out, which is why I'm a huge proponent of therapy. Um, I am a huge proponent of therapy. It helped me work through some of my stuff. Did you ever seek out therapy or any type of counseling?
Absolutely.
You went to therapy?
Absolutely. That was the
Oh.
most important part of my recovery, Joy. That was the most important. I didn't really care about the physical part because I knew I was going to walk again. I knew I was going to be able to swallow again.
Mhm.
I knew everything was going to happen for me again. The problem I had was, how can I protect my daughters?
Oh, yeah.
My daughters are, if you ever seen my daughters, like I'm 6'4". My daughters, one of them is 4'11", and she's 17 years old. So my girls are tiny. So
Mhm.
I was very scared that I was going to walk down the street and someone would grab them up and run away with them, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I had to get past it. So I went through a lot of therapy for that, just to understand that I was adequate as a man. And once I got past that, I was adequate as a man, everything else fell into place. So yes, I'm an advocate for therapy as well too.
So adequate for a man, what does that mean for you?
Well, all right. Let's just say I'm trying to date you. That's the first thing you go like, where do you work? Do you have your own house?
Yeah.
Do you have this structure? What are your plans? What are your goals? I don't have those things. So automatically I'm thinking to myself, I'm not a man. But
Mm.
now I had to think about it. I'm like, I went through some really big time stuff with
Yeah.
my life. So if I'm going to talk to a woman and she can't accept that, then it's not that I'm inadequate. That means that she's not ready to deal with me and she can't be the person that I need to be with. So I
Mm.
had to get past that.
No, that's such a good point. That is such a good point. I never thought about it like that because I'm honest and I'm vulnerable and say I think the same thing. I'd be like, do he got a job? Do he got this? But there's so much more to people, right?
It's like,
Than like I wouldn't think of you as I don't think of them as less than a man. I just be like, well, I got kid and bills, right? But
right.
but
Somebody
equating
was,
that, we often equate that to our value. You laughing, I don't know what you're finna say. We often equate that to our value is do we have a job? Are we stable? For you, it's protection. For me, because I have a kid and I'm a single mom, it's a provider, right? I gotta provide, I gotta raise them right. Um, so I'm again bringing up stuff I have never thought of.
so that's what my show is all about. Deaf taught us how to live. Is
Mhm.
trying to teach people, get rid of the stigma of what we think what a man's role is and what a woman's role is. Is about how we are compatible with each other and growing within our life. Make sure our goals are actually achieved. That is the real purpose of what I'm trying to do here. So there's a lot of men out there, my age or older or even younger, that has lost everything because they had brain trauma and they're trying to fit back into society. Their wife left them, the children that are ignoring them now. They don't know what to do. So how do they actually get back into society? How do they go into the dating market? Do they say, hey, you know what? I like you, but I had a stroke. What's the first thing a woman's going to say? Oh, man, you had a stroke? Now, a guy doesn't want to actually convey that to a woman because now he's thinking, well, she can't. be protected by me, and she thinks that she can't be protected. So why would she want to deal with me? She's gonna probably have to put a diaper on me or something like that. But I don't need a diaper. But that's what automatically comes into people's minds. So now we have to really think about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And I was thinking about it from the opposite view, as in like the woman who likes to caretake, right? So when you say it, I'm like, it's some woman out there like, oh, baby, I'll take care of you.
Yeah, but
That's the
that's
right
the one I
woman.
want.
That's the one you want.
That's the one I want.
Look, I put Greg's contact in the chat.
No,
So
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I put
My
your well, I
DMs
put
be
your link.
flooded.
I put your links in the chat, but the super A and B superhero. So
Mhm.
I know I only have you for 30 minutes, and that just got into a whole new subject of like dating. What do you tell women?
Straight up, I tell them I had a stroke.
And what their response is?
Some are receptive to it, and some are like, okay, bye, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean you would rather it be upfront, but
Yeah, I'm cool. I got no time to be wasting anybody's time. So if you don't like it, cool, bye. If you like
wow.
it, okay, let's keep on going.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Relationships must be based on First Corinthians. I love that. Oh, I love that verse. Do you know that verse? Love is
I do
patient,
not,
love
but
is
that's pretty cool.
kind. Huh?
I don't, but it's pretty cool. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I love that verse. I learned it from a Destiny's Child song, as expected. I learned the whole thing from a Destiny's Child song.
No, that is crazy. I hear
Hey,
you. I hear you though. I hear
get it
you.
how you live, right? Like you
Hey,
got it somehow.
hey, that's how you
All
like it.
right.
I love it.
So I guess as we wind up, what would be your advice to anybody going through a traumatic experience?
Um, if you're going through a traumatic experience, you need to seek counseling and get wise counsel. Do not lead it to your own understanding, and don't let your subconscious destroy you. Don't ever say that I can't. Say I'm not able to do it yet.
And therapy. I'm adding therapy. I
Therapy,
think
you got to get
I
counseling.
think everybody need a therapist. I'll go to my therapist more than I go to my primary care any other doctor. I'm
Absolutely,
gonna see her. I'm gonna see
absolutely,
her.
absolutely.
All right. And so last thing for you, I want to know what brings you joy today as a
What brings me
survivor?
joy today? Um, I got so many different layers with that question. What brings me joy is seeing people that I know become great. Like I'm watching you. I've known you for many years, and you're becoming great. You're coming out your shell, and you're doing whatever you need to do to actually prosper as yourself. I love seeing that. I'm blessed to see another day that I've been given 5 more years of life that I was not supposed to get, and I'm seeing this. So I'm blessed with that. That
That's
brings me joy.
awesome. All right. So everybody follow Graham. I said follow Graham.
Hey,
Follow
I'm
Greg. I'm gonna show his link. So he's on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, all as AVM superhero, Greg Graham. He gives out care baskets every month. Can you tell us
I
about
do.
the care baskets as we wrap up?
Okay, I can. So what I do each and every month, I do a lottery on Instagram Live around my birthday, the 24th of every month. My birthday is actually August 24th this month. And what I do is it's about 2 years. I give out free caregiver baskets to caregivers of stroke survivors. And the reason why I do that is because I know that caregivers go through a lot and nobody really recognizes that. They always look at the patient instead of the caregiver. So I'm giving back to them. So if you do want to donate or anything like that, check me out on Instagram, AVM_superhero, and check me out on my DM and see how you can be a part of it.
Do you have a Cash App?
I do. It's Big Elish.
It's
No, sorry, Big G, BIG,
hold on. BIG
GEE
GEE
8080.
8080. Now, when I put this in the chat, please tell me if it's correct. So, and I'm gonna display it so you see it. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So here's a Cash App so you can donate to the caregiver basket.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. All right. Well, Greg, I am super gracious and humbled that you graced me with your presence today. It's been an amazing conversation, and maybe we'll have another one because I want to get all into this like dating Like
Absolutely.
I love those topics.
I know, absolutely. But I want to say one thing before I leave.
Yes.
I was not rejecting you. You was rejecting me. I always wanted to be on your show.
No, I text you and you never responded. Let's be clear. Let's clear this up on national, international web.
Hey. My word against yours. It's not what
I
you know, is what you can
I
prove.
got receipts. Hunty, I got receipts. Okay. I don't know if it was this phone or my old phone, but I got receipts. Okay.
I got you, sister. I got you, sis.
All right. Well, thank everyone for watching. Please share, like, share, subscribe, follow, wherever it is, all the places, do all the things. And thank you to Greg. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.